In the vast, silent expanse where fate is carved by blood and will, the path of immortality grows ever more treacherous. Wang Lin walks a razor's edge between life and oblivion, burdened by karma, hunted by unseen forces, and driven by a resolve that defies the heavens themselves. In the previous turning of events, ancient powers stirred and hidden enemies revealed their fangs, pushing the fragile balance of the cultivation world toward chaos. Each step forward now carries the weight of countless grudges, and every choice may awaken forces long sealed in darkness. As we enter Renegade Immortal Chapter 487, Chapter 488, the storm gathers once more. Secrets deepen, tensions rise, and the line between hunter and hunted begins to blur. Will Wang Lin seize control of his destiny? Or will the shadows of the past finally claim him? The legend continues. Step carefully, for not all who walk this road return. What kind of place could gather such overwhelming spiritual energy yet remain hidden in silence? High above the mountains of the Purple Division, there stood a vast platform, carved as though by the heavens themselves. At its very heart rose a towering pavilion, 9 levels tall, its presence both ancient and imposing. From afar, the dense spiritual energy surrounding it spread outward like a massive canopy, as if an invisible umbrella shielded it from the world below. The structure itself was forged from green jade tiles. Time had not been kind to it, nor had it been merciful. Countless years had washed over its surface, leaving traces of age behind. Some tiles had faded, turning a dull gray, yet this only deepened its ancient aura. Cracks ran across parts of the jade, and from those fractures, vines had crept forth. They curled along the surface, weaving through the structure like veins of life. Upon those vines bloomed delicate purple flowers, each one releasing a fragrance so profound, it stirred something deep within the soul of anyone who breathed it. Beneath the pavilion lay a massive formation. It stretched across the entire platform, intricate and profound, with the pavilion itself as its core. From a distance, the formation resembled the merging of yin and yang, order and chaos intertwined. At its center, an unsettling turbulence lingered, as if something was constantly being born and destroyed. Within that formation, 3 terrifying auras moved. They did not clash, nor did they merge. Instead, they manifested as 3 streaks of white light, drifting within the formation in perfect harmony, yet never touching, never intersecting. Each carried a presence powerful enough to shake the heavens, and yet they remained bound. Outside the pavilion, seated calmly, was a man. He sat cross-legged, unmoving, a middle-aged figure clad in black robes. His brows were sharp like unsheathed blades, his skin pale as carved jade. His beard, split into 3 flowing strands, danced gently in the wind, giving him the bearing of an immortal who had long transcended the mortal realm. His aura was concealed, utterly hidden. Unless one's cultivation surpassed his own, it would be nearly impossible to perceive his true strength. He appeared calm, detached, as though the affairs of the world held no weight in his heart. Yet all of his focus rested upon a single object in his lap, a sword, 7 feet in length. Entirely green, it emitted a ghostly radiance that spread outward beneath the sunlight, bathing everything nearby in an eerie emerald glow. At that moment, Wang Lin stood dozens of feet away, observing. His gaze was steady, but his thoughts were anything but calm. This man stands at the peak of the late stage of soul formation, but within him there is a sword intent hidden so deeply it nearly escapes perception. The moment that thought settled, the man's eyes opened. He saw Wang Lin. Shock flickered across his face. In an instant, he rose to his feet, cupped his hands, and bowed deeply. Disciple Zhang Xiangfan greets 7th ancestor. As he spoke, the green sword dissolved into a streak of light, vanishing into his body. Wang Lin's gaze lingered briefly on Zhang Xiangfan's forehead. Then, in a calm and measured tone, he spoke. "Let me see your flying sword." Zhang Xiangfan hesitated, only for a breath. Then he nodded respectfully. "Disciple's sword is nothing extraordinary. I acquired it from a shop outside the sect. It holds no special qualities. But since 7th ancestor wishes to see it, I will comply." He raised a finger to his brow. A low roar escaped his lips. From between his brows, a burst of green light shot forth, reforming instantly into the 7-foot sword. As it appeared, waves of sword hymns echoed softly, resonating through the air. Wang Lin stepped forward. His expression remained calm as he extended his hand. The moment his fingers closed around the blade, he drew it closer, inspecting it carefully. Just moments earlier, when the sword had been withdrawn, the faint trace of sword intent had vanished. Now, it returned, and Wang Lin understood. The source of that hidden intent had never been Zhang Xiangfan. It was the sword itself. As his left hand brushed lightly across the blade, Wang Lin's heart trembled. To others, this sword might appear unusual at best. Its hidden intent would be nearly impossible to detect. But to him, that feeling, it was unmistakable, a familiarity that pierced straight into his soul. Zhou Yi, the name echoed silently in his mind. That faint trace of sword intent was identical to the aura Zhou Yi had released when he transformed into a sword spirit. Back then, Zhou Yi had pursued the sword saint, Ling Tianhao, and since that day, more than 100 years had passed. This was the first time Wang Lin had felt that presence again. Had he not spent countless years beneath the pagoda, comprehending Zhou Yi's domain, he would never have recognized it. The sword held only a fragment, a sliver, but it was enough. Wang Lin fell silent. Then, gently, he rubbed the blade at once. The sword erupted with radiant green light. A strand of brilliance shot outward, coalescing into a glowing green star that hovered before him. Wang Lin gazed at it, then sighed. He reached out and grasped the star. Turning to Zhang Xiangfan, who stood uncertain, unsure how to react, Wang Lin spoke calmly. "There is a trace of sword intent within your blade, left behind by an old acquaintance of mine. I will take it." He paused, "but I will not treat you unfairly." With a flick of his sleeve, he retrieved a jade slip from his storage. "Take this. It contains 18 restriction seals. Apply them to any flying sword of high or lower grade, and its power will multiply several times over." He tossed the jade forward. Zhang Xiangfan caught it. Though he maintained a respectful expression, the loss of the sword's hidden value caused a flicker of pain in his eyes. Still, he examined the jade, and in that instant, his expression changed completely. Shock, disbelief, then overwhelming realization. He raised his head abruptly. "Thank you, seventh ancestor." His voice carried genuine reverence. He had cultivated for many years, seen countless treasures. But these 18 restrictions, they were extraordinary. All of them were offensive in nature, and more importantly, they could be layered, stacked, combined. His heart pounded. With these, even cultivators of the same level would no longer pose a threat. He suppressed his excitement, though within, he already longed to enter seclusion and imprint the restrictions onto a new sword. Yet, to Wang Lin, these 18 seals were merely fragments. Only 2 sets derived from the countless restrictions he had studied from Yunquezi's straw hat. They were far from enough to elevate his restriction flag further. Without delay, Wang Lin spoke again. "I came to retrieve my celestial jades." Zhang Xiangfan snapped back to attention. "Yes, seventh ancestor. You are allotted 100 celestial jades per month. Please provide your token, and I will activate the transfer formation." Wang Lin raised his hand. The token flew forward. Zhang Xiangfan caught it respectfully, stepping back. He examined the ground carefully, calculated. Then, at the precise moment when the 3 auras within the formation aligned, he pressed the token down. Instantly, the formation roared. The 3 auras surged toward the token, crashing into it with overwhelming force. A thunderous rumble echoed. Zhang Xiangfan staggered backward, unable to hold his ground. The token rose into the air. The 3 auras pierced through it, accelerating faster and faster, until only after images remained. Moments later, a brilliant purple light burst forth. The 3 auras merged into one, then shot toward the pavilion. Before the 7th floor, they stopped and transformed into a massive gate of light. Zhang Xiangfan bowed deeply. "Seventh ancestor, please enter with the token." Without hesitation, Wang Lin stepped forward. He seized the token and soared toward the 7th floor. The moment he entered the gate, his vision blurred. Then, clarity returned. He stood in another world, a realm that resembled the celestial domain itself. Fragrant blossoms filled the air. Clear streams flowed gently across the land. Above, 7-colored clouds stretched endlessly, while cranes soared gracefully through the sky. Suddenly, the clouds gathered, condensing into a colossal figure. Its face remained obscured, but the spiritual energy it radiated was immense. Token. The voice that followed was vast and commanding. Wang Lin remained calm. He tossed the token upward. As it approached the figure, it shattered into golden particles, merging into its form. Moments later, the voice echoed again. The seventh disciple of the Purple Division has not withdrawn celestial jades for 103 years. Do you wish to withdraw the full amount? Wang Lin's pupils contracted. Even his composure faltered. He drew a breath. I will take everything. The voice responded. 123,600 pieces. In an instant, a torrent of celestial jades poured forth. They piled before him, rising rapidly. Until they formed a small mountain, Wang Lin stared. His throat went dry. He had never imagined such wealth. The Heavenly Fate sect? Distributed resources like this? If a disciple position remains vacant for tens of thousands of years, wouldn't the accumulated amount become unimaginable? Celestial jades are supposed to be rare, so how does this sect possess so many? He inhaled deeply, then acted, swiftly storing the entire mountain into his bag of holding. Even after finishing, he touched the bag. It felt unreal. A bitter smile crossed his lips. No wonder others had seen him as ignorant. His understanding was still far too shallow. More than 100,000 celestial jades had nearly shaken his resolve. Had anyone tried to stop him earlier, he would have struck without hesitation. Slowly, he calmed himself. His eyes cleared. Only then did he fully regain his composure. At that moment, the giant figure dissolved, returning to drifting clouds. Golden particles reformed, condensing once more into the token. It shot toward him like lightning. Wang Lin raised his hand. But the moment he touched it, an invisible force erupted. It pushed him back dozens of feet, and in the blink of an eye, he vanished from that celestial realm. Before the storm of fate descends, there is always a moment of silence, a fleeting breath where destiny gathers its strength. And in that breath, Wang Lin chose to defy it. He emerged from the 7th level of the treasure pavilion like a shadow breaking free from confinement. The instant his figure stabilized, it blurred, transforming into a streak of light that tore through the sky without hesitation. He did not slow. He did not look back. His destination was clear. Across the vast expanse of the Purple Division Mountain, his figure cut through the air like a blade, each movement sharp and decisive. The wind howled in his wake, sonic explosions trailing behind him, shattering the tranquility of the sect's sacred grounds. Within his mind, there was no distraction. He had gathered enough celestial jade. That alone was enough. Closed-door cultivation, immediate refinement, a breakthrough into the middle stage of soul transformation. Only then would he have the strength to contend for the position of true disciple when the storm arrived in 3 months. Nothing else mattered. Below, beneath the path of his blazing ascent, a quiet bamboo pavilion stood nestled among swaying leaves. 3 elderly men sat within, their robes flowing gently as they sipped tea. They were no ordinary figures. They were disciplinary elders of the Purple Division, beings who had witnessed centuries pass like drifting clouds. One of them slowly lifted his gaze, following the fading trail of light. Wang Lin left behind, his brows furrowed, and a snort escaped him. "This Wang Lin," he muttered, displeasure thick in his tone. "Too arrogant. To dare move with such speed within sect territory, he shows no restraint." The man beside him shook his head, calm and measured. "Do not be so quick to judge. The ancestors' disciples are not people we should provoke lightly. Unless one betrays the sect, interference is unwise." His eyes narrowed slightly as he continued. Though his cultivation appears modest, his combat experience is not. Even if the 3 of us joined forces, the outcome would be uncertain. At best, a draw. The 3rd elder raised his teacup, the liquid within reflecting the faint glow of the sky. He took a slow sip, then spoke with quiet indifference. "You both concern yourselves too much. The struggles between the ancestors' disciples have always been fierce." He placed the cup down gently. "We have remained in this sect for thousands of years. Should we not have seen through this by now?" Silence followed. Each of them understood. Above them, Wang Lin's figure had already vanished beyond the horizon. Moments later, a streak of light descended upon the Purple Forest Pavilion. Wang Lin landed, his robes settling as the residual energy dispersed into the air behind him like a fading comet tail. But the instant his feet touched the ground, his expression shifted. His eyes turned cold. Without a word, he pivoted and looked toward the distant sky. Another presence. was approaching. A beam of light shot forward, tearing through the air with equal speed. It halted mid-flight, collapsing inward as a figure revealed itself. A woman. Her cultivation aura surged, late-stage soul transformation, fourth sister. At the same moment, another ripple distorted the air. Xianxia stepped forward, his face adorned with a warm, almost harmless smile. To Wang Lin's right, violet light shimmered. The second brother emerged, his expression dark and unreadable. Wang Lin remained still, unmoved. His gaze swept across the three of them, his voice steady and cold. There is no need for such theatrics. His eyes sharpened slightly. The one hiding? Come out. Though his divine sense detected no additional presence, the composure of the three before him betrayed the truth. They were not alone. And just as his words fell, laughter echoed across the sky. The void rippled. A figure stepped forth from emptiness itself. A young man, appearing no more than 30 years of age, though in the world of cultivation, such appearances were meaningless. He wore blue robes adorned with 3 azure dragons coiling along his sleeves. His smile was gentle, yet his presence was anything but. Sima Rufeng, he introduced himself with a clear voice. 3rd-ranked disciple of the Blue Division, Heavenly Fate Sect. His gaze settled upon Wang Lin. Measured, curious, sharp. Wang Lin's pupils contracted, barely noticeable yet real late-stage soul transformation, and not merely that. He stood at its very peak, stronger, even than fourth sister. Sima Rufeng continued, his tone casual, almost friendly. Junior apprentice brother Wang Lin, your name has reached even beyond your division. He gestured slightly. Today, I thought it fitting to introduce you to another senior brother. His voice rose. Brother Wang, since you are already here, there is no need to remain hidden. A cold snort answered him. The air behind Wang Lin twisted. In that instant, without any warning, a man appeared several dozen feet away. Blue robes. Still as ice, he stood like a frozen mountain that would never melt, his presence chilling the surrounding space. His eyes opened. They swept over Wang Lin once, only once, then closed again. As if Wang Lin was not worthy of further attention. But that single glance contained absolute control, absolute indifference. Wang Lin's heart sank. He has not stepped into the ascendant stage, but he is already half a step within it. The pressure intensified. 5 figures now surrounded him. Their intent, unmistakable. Wang Lin's hand slowly moved toward his storage bag. At that moment, fourth sister spoke, her expression conflicted. 7th brother, her voice carried a trace of helplessness. I was asked to act. A faint pause. I have no choice. Her hands formed seals. Her fingers danced with precision. Then she pointed. A silver radiance burst forth from her body, spreading outward in an instant. 10 kilometers. Everything within that radius was engulfed. Forbidden technique. Teleport. The world trembled, light surged, and in the next instant, everything vanished. Far from the Heavenly Fate Sect, deep within a vast and desolate forest, the trees rose like blades, piercing toward the heavens. Each trunk stood tall and rigid, as if forged from steel rather than wood. Even from afar, one could feel it. A suffocating aura, killing intent. It seeped from the rocks. It lingered within the soil. It burned like an invisible flame that never extinguished. This was no ordinary forest. This was a place where even the land remembered blood. Suddenly, the sky above trembled. Silver light appeared. Faint at first, then brighter, then blinding. It expanded until it covered 10 kilometers. Cultivators scattered across the region sensed it immediately. Rogue cultivators paused mid-flight, their expressions shifting. Some fled without hesitation, others watched from afar, but none dared approach. At the center of the radiance, 2 figures materialized. A woman, elegant. Her purple robes flowed like celestial silk, her long black hair cascading behind her like a waterfall of night. And beside her, a man, also clad in purple. But his presence was different. Cold, still, like an ancient tree that had weathered countless storms. Wang Lin, his eyes flickered. He spoke calmly. Fourth sister's technique has broadened my understanding. He had felt it clearly. The moment the spell activated, space itself became viscous, like liquid locking him in place. Escape was impossible. And beyond that, 4 killing intents had locked onto him. Xianxia, second brother, Sima Rufeng, and the ice-like cultivator, each one ready to strike, not to kill, but to suppress. Against such coordinated pressure, Wang Lin had not resisted. He had allowed himself to be brought here. Fourth sister spoke again, her tone soft. If you're interested, I can teach you this technique. A pause. But for now, her gaze hardened slightly. I hope you will remain here in closed-door cultivation for 3 years. She turned slightly away. After 3 years, I will return and release you. Wang Lin said nothing. His gaze swept the surroundings. Boulders. Ancient, covered in carvings. From above, they formed a pattern, a restriction. His eyes gleamed. You believe this formation can confine me? Without hesitation, he raised his hand. A beam of white light surged forth. A sword. It formed instantly in his grasp. He hurled it forward. The blade streaked toward a nearby boulder, but before it could travel far, it slowed, then trembled, then shattered, dispersing into nothing. Wang Lin frowned. Fourth sister sighed softly. This restriction was laid personally by senior apprentice brother. Her voice carried quiet certainty. If he was not confident, you would not be here. She stepped back, exiting the silver boundary. Before leaving, she turned once more. Her eyes lingered on Wang Lin. Then, in a low murmur, the favor I owed you has been repaid. From this moment onward, we owe each other nothing. Her figure vanished into the distance. Wang Lin watched her go. His eyes grew colder. Without another word, he drew forth the celestial sword. With a single swing, a massive arc of sword energy erupted. It tore toward the stone, at first unstoppable, but as it traveled, it weakened, faded, and after 3 breaths, it disappeared. Wang Lin remained silent. Then, he shot upward, straight into the sky. The moment he ascended, a force pressed down, heavy, oppressive. The higher he went, the stronger it became, like the heavens themselves rejecting him. But Wang Lin did not retreat. He roared and surged higher, hundreds of feet more. From afar, one could see a lone purple figure rising against the sky, and above him, the silver barrier stretched, deforming with his ascent. Veins bulged across Wang Lin's forehead. He roared again, pushing further. The pressure now rivaled the full strength of a late-stage soul transformation cultivator. His face paled. Then, he was forced back. His body shot downward like a falling star, but just before impact, he twisted, redirected the force, and landed, silent, on a rock. He stared upward, eyes dark, thoughts churning. After a moment, he acted. The celestial sword appeared once more. Shu Liguo emerged with a roar, charging forward under Wang Lin's command. The half-moon blade followed. Both streaked toward the sky, but the force descended again. Stronger, far stronger. Shu Liguo screamed, Master, this can't be broken. Even the blade cannot cut through it. The weapons returned. The half-moon blade vibrated, emitting frustrated cries. Wang Lin's gaze sharpened. So this is your plan? To confine me until the selection ends. A cold glint appeared in his eyes. And you expect me to accept that? Silence. Resolve. If this place is desolate, then I will use it. His voice was steady, unshaken. I will cultivate here. Break through to the middle stage of soul transformation, and when I do, his eyes burned. This prison will shatter, and I will return to claim what is mine. With that, his figure vanished from the rock. He plunged into the depths of the forest, toward danger, toward solitude, toward power, toward the storm that had only just begun.